Hey everybody, Rosematter here, and welcome to part 14 of my Fate Stay Night Let's Play. The last episode finally had some action happening again. Shiro got tricked by Shinji, who told him to come to the school because he had something to tell him. You could tell something was a little off about him, and then when Shiro got to the school, without telling Saber and Rin, which was a big mistake, turns out that Shinji and Ryder are the ones behind the boundary field at the school, even though he said that he didn't have anything to do with it. And he was basically willing to kill the students and teacher in order to absorb their energy. Shiro finally realizing that he does need Saber's help and he does need to fight and potentially kill other people in order to, you know, kind of like save people. He wants to be a hero. He wants to save people. And he realized in that moment that he can't save everybody. He may have to make sacrifices and kill people, even his former best friend. And Shiro was actually pretty badass. All the training with Rin and Saber has finally paid off. It wasn't looking good for him. He used his command spell to get Saber to the school. Ryder and Shinji took off after Shiro did a number on Shinji. I think he like broke his arm or something, or his nose. But yeah, Shiro was actually pretty badass in the episode, and he almost died again, but thankfully he's able to regenerate, and he's doing well. But that was a lesson that he has to let Saber fight, but he's going to fight alongside her, and they had a sweet moment towards the end before Rin interrupted it. So it seems like now Saber and Shiro are on the same page now, and Shiro is willing to do what he has to do. And we know it's not the end of, like, Shinji. Like, he's still out there, and we know that he's willing to kill people. And he said he wasn't going to put up a boundary field at the school. He didn't say anything about anywhere else, so he's one to watch out for. So we're going to continue on and see the aftermath of everything that happened at the school. So let's get back into it. I'm having a bad dream. My injured body wants to sleep deeply, but my mind is still buried in that scene, and I can't fall into a deep sleep. My still injured body is burning, and my mind that cannot mourn enough is still burning too. I might be having a nightmare. As I doze, I see a dream in my unclear mind. How many victims were there? Tosaka said nobody died, but that's only from the outside. Having had their life sucked out by force, there will certainly be after effects. Long-term physical disabilities and mental damage from lack of oxygen. There were even students that had their skin melted. That's right, that was a pretty effed up scene when Shiro tried to go into the classroom and he found someone who was like melting away. That scar is something that will stay with them for the rest of their lives, even if it heals. I mean, Shiro certainly knows about trauma after an experience like that. My body hurts. My almost dead. No, my absolutely dead body convulses. It was unfortunate for everyone involved, but you still did well. You were able to stop the disaster in exchange for a wound you would normally die from. So there's nothing to mourn or to be ashamed of. The pain tells me to quietly fall asleep for now. No, I can't deceive myself with such reasoning. It makes no difference to the fact the disaster occurred while I was there, but I couldn't do anything. I say I saved lives, but at the same time, I couldn't save anybody. If that was just a mistake, if it had never happened, I bet my mind and my body could go to sleep peacefully. Is he thinking, like, if he had just stopped Shinji, like, way back then before all that stuff happened, then the students wouldn't have had to suffer at all? I'm pissed off. It's ridiculous for my mind to grumble about such a thing. There's no miracles like that. It's a great insult to want to go back and redo things just because I think they're inconvenient and disastrous. It's impossible to take something that has already happened and make it so that it didn't happen. It's impossible, and more importantly, it shouldn't be done. That's why I can't pretend the event didn't happen. There's only one thing I can do. If I hate the scene I still see even now, I should just act to prevent it from ever happening again. You gotta kill Shinji, man! Gotta do it! Sleep ends here. My body comes later. My body moves, get up and run. No one getting hurt is the ideal I aim for. I should do so until the point of my death. I open my eyes. I take a deep breath and draw air into my lungs. The cold winter air takes away my drowsiness and uneasiness. Habit is a great thing. It's only a bit past 6 o'clock. Maybe my body is healed quite well already as I'm awake at my usual time.
Yes.
I get up and fold up the futon. During that normal action, he's like, oh, never mind. A sharp pain runs through my left arm as if there's a crack in my bone.
そりゃそうだよな。さすがにまだ治りきってないか。
I wonder if Shinji's just gonna go back to school like all that stuff didn't happen. Or he's gonna stay away too. But all that's left is this pain. It's much better than when I got my stomach slashed by Berserker a few days ago. And a lot has happened to him in just a few days. At that time, my body was so weak that the nausea was worse than the pain. I go out into the hallway. The sunlight's gloomy and offers no energy. The weather is very cloudy, like it's going to rain.
シロ、目が覚めたのですか？
ああ、今目が覚めた。そういうセイバーこそ今朝は早いんだな。いつもならまだ眠ってる時間じゃないか。
Yeah, it's unusual for Saber to be awake before breakfast is ready.
シロ、私とて好きで眠っているわけではありません。私が朝食まで眠っているのは単に魔力を温存するためだと言ったはずです。
Sure, that's just a cover. She's just a late riser.
その、いかにも普段から寝過ごしているという物言いはやめてほしい。
Nice to see Saber, like, kind of, I don't know, she's still pretty serious, but she's loosening up a little bit.
なんでさ、別にそんなつもりで言ってないぞ、俺。単にこんな早起きしていいのかって思っただけだ。
ほう、そうですか。私が早起きするのはおかしいと。
Saber sounds cranky. Is it just me? It seems Saber's stricter today, or should I say she's unreserved?
いや、おかしいとかじゃなくていいのかなって。セイバーが頻繁に眠らなくちゃいけないのは俺のせいだ。だから今朝もできる限り眠っていないといけないんじゃないのか。
当然です。ですが、それはあくまで待機状態に過ぎません。私が眠っていたのは緊急時に備えてのもの。今の状態で眠るのは道理にかなわないではないですか。
道理にかなわないってなんで？別に今は誰とも戦ってないし襲われてもいないぞ。
いえ、ですからそれは。
Saber is unclear, as if there's something she doesn't want to say.
まあいいけど、今は緊急ってわけじゃないんだし、出かけるまで眠っていた方がいい。朝飯ができたら呼びに行くから、それまで力を温存しといてくれ。今日一日、セイバーの力を借りることになるんだから。
I head towards the kitchen.
待ってください、シロ。
なんだよ、セイバー。他に何か。
あなたは今、何をすると言いましたか？
I gasp without realizing. Even though she's asking me a question, Saber glares at me as if not letting me answer.
そもそもあなたは安静にしなければいけない体でしょう。朝食の支度など凛がします。シロが優先すべきことは、部屋で休み、体を癒すことです。それが分かっていないとは言わせません。
セイバ
ー。Saber sounds strict because she's concerned about my body.
部屋に戻ってください、シロ。眠りが必要なのは、私ではなくあなたの方です。
She might be able to read my mind as she glares at me even harder. But still, I can't let Shinji go.
いや、部屋には戻らない。もう十分休んだし、やらなくちゃいけないことがあるだろう。準備ができたら街に出よう、セイバー。今日中にシンジを捕まえるんだ。
なぜですか？今日中にライダーのマスターを捕らえる理由などありません。戦うのなら、シローの傷が癒えてからにするべきです。それからでも遅くはないでしょう。
それは違う、セイバー。順番で言うなら、俺の体なんて後回しだ。そんな暇はないんだ。シンジのやつが何をするかはお前だってわかるだろう。またあんな結界を張られる前にあいつからライダーを切り離す。サーバントがいなくなればシンジは何もできないはずだ。
昨日のような犠牲者を出したくないというのですか？ライダーのマスターを倒すのではなく、 ただそれだけのために戦うと。
そんなことはない。シンジには責任を取らせる。そのためにはライダーを倒さなくちゃいけないだけだ。それに犠牲者を出さないために行動するなんていうのは当たり前だろ。そんなこと戦う理由以前の問題だ。
そうですか。マスターがそう言うのなら私は従うだけですが。
シンジを探す？別に文句はないけど、ちゃんと勝ち目があって言ってるんでしょうね、シロ。
Is Rin going to at some point? Is Archer still recovering? Granted, I know that like this is only the course of over a couple of days, and he doesn't have like the regenerative. Can I say that word? Ability that Saber has, but like I want to see Rin and Archer fight too. After breakfast, Osaka reacts as soon as I declare that I can't let Shinji go.
勝ち目ってシンジに対してか？
そうよ。前もって言っとくけど、賞賛もないくせに他のマスターに手を出す気だった。なんて言ったら笑うわよ。
Damn it. Now that she says that, I've only thought about stopping Shinji, and never about how to do so.
ちょっと、エミヤくん、本気？
すまん。笑ってくれ。
うわ、悪いけど笑えないわ、今の冗談。
Ugh, if she reacts like that, she'll make me realize how stupid I am.
セイバー、あんたのマスターはこんなんだけど、あなた自身はどうなの？ライダーと戦うことに異論はないわけ？
ライダーと戦うだけならば問題はありません。彼女の能力は確認済みです。それはシロ本人も分かっていると思います。何しろライダーと直接
I mean,
対峙した
Ryder
の
couldn't
ですか
even
ら。
take down a human. She almost did, a couple of times, but...
ああ、そうだっけ。なら、シロにもライダーがどの程度かは分かっているんだ。
Saber's basically like, yeah, she's just basic bitch. I'm OP. She has no chance against me. Tosaka inquires with her eyes. Then again, Ryder seems pretty confident with her noble phantasm. That she thinks that she can beat anybody. She must be asking about Ryder's strength. Oh, I forgot. At the end of the last episode, the stuff was updated. I think it was the weapons, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it wasn't that. Was it the status? Status, I think. Ryder. Okay, so there's the noble phantasm. Blood Fort Andromeda, other sealing blood temple, a barrier of blood. It melts the people within it. The melted people become red blood and are absorbed by the energy of the barrier. Its primary use is to absorb magical energy. So that's her noble phantasm? Okay. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I thought she was going to have another one where she said, like, my noble phantasm is, like, basically the strongest. Certainly, I have a grasp of it. I don't know if it's because I have a contract with the servant or because of my command spell, but even though she's not my servant, if I see her fight, I can put numbers to her abilities. Ryder herself wasn't a superior servant.
ライダーはセイバーほど強くない。1対1の戦いならまず負けはしないと思う。
そうなんだ。なら、ちゃんと賞賛はあるんじゃない。シンジは魔術師じゃないから、ライダーはマスターからの支援を
And
受
that's
けら
why
れ
she
ない。
needed to use her noble
必
phantasm
然
to
的
get
に
magical
セ
energy,
イバーとライ
because
ダーの
Shinji
一
can't
騎
give
打ち
her
にな
any.
るものね。
Just like Tosaka says, as long as Shinji's her master, Ryder has to fight by herself. There should be no disadvantage for Saber.
何よ、気の乗らない顔して。何か問題でもあるっていうの？
ああ。いいか、トサカ。それだけ戦力的に上回ったセイバーに追い詰められていたのに、ライダーはシンジを連れて逃げ延びたんだ。
I want Tosaka to go too. I want Rin to like maybe help out with magical abilities. It wouldn't make sense for Rin to do that, to use her magical skills to help another person, but I mean, we're on a team.
あれはライダーの宝具だったと思うんだが。
The arrow of light that trampled through the hall. That's what I was thinking, because she's saying like the noble phantasm, but they're saying that the noble phantasm... Can a servant have multiple noble phantasms? I thought that was just one that they had. The arrow of light that trampled through the hallway. A wave of destruction that would have surely disintegrated my body without trace if Saber didn't knock me aside. If that was Ryder's secret move, we can't be optimistic even if Ryder herself is weak. So, okay, let me bring this up again, because I'm confused about that. That's right? You think that would be, like, under her abilities? Or her skills? But not saying that that's her normal phantasm. Maximum target, 500. No, more than not being optimistic, I feel like we shouldn't even challenge her.
つまりライダーはライダー本人より所有する宝具の方が優れてるタイプってわけね。
I would assume most serpents, like noble phantasms, would be stronger than their usual abilities. Like their ultra secret move.
シローはともかく、あなたならライダーの宝具が何であるか分かったんじゃない？目の前で使われたんだから見当ぐらいはついてるんでしょ？
面目ありません。白を守ることに精一杯で、私もあれが何であるか確認することはできなかった。そんなことに気を割いていたら、私も白もあの一撃に巻き込まれていたでしょう。
巻き込まれたって何？ライダーの宝具って飛び道具なの？
それに近いものでした。分類的にはリンの使う魔術に近い。あれは私の剣やランサーの槍のような対人宝具ではないのでしょう。
私の魔術に近いってそれこそ変よ。セイバーの対魔術は神業じゃない。現代の魔術じゃまずあなたに傷を負わせることはできない。
はい。神秘はより強い神秘の前に無効化される。私の鎧を通ることができる神秘は、あなたたちの言う魔法か、神域に住む幻想種だけです。
魔法使い。ライダーは魔術師だっていうの？セイバ
ー。いいえ、それほどの魔力は感じませんでした。彼女はライダーです。魔法使いがいるとすれば、それはキャスターだけでしょう。
And that's why I was so convinced that it couldn't have been Shinji and Ryder. Because Shinji doesn't have magical abilities, really, and I would assume Caster would be the type to put up a boundary field. Osaka gives a relieved sigh at Saber's answer, but I don't quite get it.
Saber, お前の鎧っていうのはそんなに硬いものなのか？魔法でなければ通らないなんて言うけど、それならランサーのゲイボルクは魔法ってことになるが。
ええ。確かにランサーのゲイボルクは魔法に近い呪いですが、リン、シローに説明してあげてくれますか？
私？まあいいけど。要するにシローは、セイバーは魔法じゃないと傷つかないと勘違いしているわけね。
いや、別にそういうわけじゃないけど、ただそんなに頑丈な鎧ならすごいなって思っただけだ。
そりゃすごいわよ。セイバーに限らずサーバントってのはみんな英霊なのよ。霊体ってこともあるけど、まっとうな手段じゃ傷一つつけられない。サーバントはそれ自体が神秘だから。物理的な手段でサーバントを傷つけられるのは同じ英霊であるサーバントだけ。逆に言えばサーバント同士ならただのペーパーナイフでもセイバーを傷つけることはできる。
相手がサーバントならセイバーの鎧もそう鉄壁ってわけじゃないってことか。
そうね。けどセイバー自身接近戦の技量が優れているから、白兵戦ではまずセイバーに傷は負わせられない。残った手段は遠距離からの攻撃、魔術っていう飛び道具になるわけだけど、セイバーは騎士のくせにとんでもない対魔力を持ってるから、大抵の魔術は弾かれてしまうのよ。バッドラックに代表される呪いなんてまず届かないし、魔力を矢として放つ直接干渉も効かない。セイバーを倒したかったら真正面からの切り合いで彼女を任さなくちゃダメってわけ。
Saber's listening quietly to Tosaka's explanation. She probably is not interrupting because it's all true.
なんだよ、 そんなのインチキだ。
Shiro's like, that's not even fair, and I'm the one who has her. I almost feel bad for the other people.
剣技でかなわないから魔術で勝負するっていうのに、魔術そのものがセイバーに効かないな
Right?
ら
They just said,
どう
like,
しろって言うんだ。
she would beat almost anybody in head-to-head combat, but also they can't get at her from a distance.
なんか不公平だぞ、その話。
そうね。けどそのセイバーだって白兵戦で絶対に負けない
I
とい
just
う
know
わけ
she's
じゃ
got
ない
like the
でし
little
ょ
kind of like angry thing above her head. What's that about?
バーサーカーは力だけならセイバーを上回ってるし、ランサーだって白兵戦において必殺の槍を持ってる。今話してるライダーだってセイバーを出し抜くほどの宝具を持ってたんだから、セイバーも完璧ってわけじゃないわ。私たちだってセイバーを倒す方法はあるもの。単にセイバーの耐魔力を上回る魔術を持ってくるか、サーバントが使っている武器を借りて寝ている間に首を切るとか。サーバントの武器ならサーバント自身と同じ霊格なんだから、傷をつけることは可能なはずよ。
Pretty ballsy of Rin to say straight up like, we could just kill her while she's asleep while she's staying in the same house that Saber is in. It's a scary example, but I understand. Hold on, Tosaka. You can't talk like that in front of Saber herself, right?
あ、そうなんだ。じゃあライダーの宝具が特別優れてるってわけじゃなくて、サーバントの攻撃だからセイバーも守りに徹したってことなのか。
わけないでしょ。セイバーが守りに徹するのなら、ライダー自身じゃ何をしたって追い詰めることなんて不可能よ。ライダー本人がそう優れた英霊じゃないのなら、彼女が宝具を使ったところでたかが知れているし。そうでしょ、セイバー。ライダーの宝具はライダー自身の能力とは関係のない武器なのよね。
おそらくライダーの技や魔力に頼らない自動的な武装、宝具そのものに効果があるものだと思います。魔術か幻想種か、どちらにせよあの魔法陣から放たれたものは圧倒的でした。直撃を受けた場合、生き延びられるサーバントなどいないでしょう。
そうなの？数値的にどれくらい？
あなたたち風に言うのなら A プラスといったところでしょうか。私個人の推測に過ぎないので断定はできませんが。
A プラス？何それ、魔法一歩手前じゃない。そんなの使われてよく学校が吹っ飛ばなかったってもんだわ。
単純に破壊するだけの宝具というわけではないのでしょう。もともとは他の用途がある宝具なのではないでしょうか。
そうだとしても厄介ね。セイバーの話じゃ A 判定どころじゃないし、瞬間的な攻撃力ならサーバント中最高ってことになるのかしら。
まあ確かに攻守ともに優れた宝具のようでした。
I was gonna say, Saber's like, I'm S rank in everything, so I'm not even bothered. Saber comments to Tosaka, who goes into pondering. A little bit of a humble brag on Saber's part, but I don't even think she's meaning to brag. I think she's just speaking truth. But that's a very smug look. What is it? Saber doesn't seem to be enjoying this conversation.
セイバー、遠坂の意見、なんか引っかかるところでもあるのか。
いえ、別にそういうわけではないというか、本当はどちらが強いかなど追求するのは騎士にあるまじき行いというか。
She's acting suspiciously. Saber mumbles on as if ashamed of what she's saying.
まあいいけど、それよりさ、さっき妙なことを言ってなかったか。セイバーとランサーのは対人宝具とかなんとか。
対人宝具ですか。いえ、言葉通りの意味ですが、私の風王結界やランサーのゲイボルクはあくまで人を倒すための武装です。いかに強力な魔力、呪いを帯びていたところで、その用途は対人の域を出るものではありません。
Well, that is true. Saber's invisible sword is certainly an advantage in battle. But that's only in the case of man versus man. There would be no difference in speed, even if you used an invisible sword to chop wood. Lancer's guy... Damn it, I've already forgot. A gay bolg? I apologize again, I am probably saying that wrong, is the same. Even with a cursed lance that would strike the heart, the opponent is a rock or a house. It is no more than a strong lance.
なるほど。だから対人の宝具ってことなのか。ならライダーの宝具は
大軍宝具ってことになるわね。そういえば父さんに聞いたことがあったわ。宝具には対人に優れたも
Oh
の、
yeah, that
大
reminds
軍に
me.
優れたも
Was
のがあるっ
that?
て。
I'm trying to remember in Fate Zero, Archers, or was it Archers? I think it was Riders, where it's like he had like a whole army, like he was able to summon like an entire army. But then Archer was able to use his Noble Phantasm to completely decimate them.
簡単に言って、対人宝具は弾数制限のない拳銃で、大軍宝具ってのは一発限りのミサイルってことね。
Okay, so one-time missile, so she used it, then she can't really use it again, right?
ライダーの宝具は強力だけど、その分使用にかなりの制限があるんじゃないかしら。少なくともセイバーの剣みたいにいつも見えないなんて永続的な宝具じゃない。
Hold on. A gun would be no match for a missile. It's true that Saber's invisible sword is an awesome sword, but it would be blown away before she could swing it against such a ridiculous Noble Phantasm.
つまりライダーと戦うのなら宝具を使われる前に倒せってことか。
でしょうね。宝具の打ち合いになったら勝ち目はない。ライダーとシンジを探すって言うなら、それだけは頭に入れておきなさい。大前提としてライダーが宝具を使う前に倒すこと。戦いを長引かせれば長引かせるだけこっちが不利になるから。
This feels like this would be a good one for Assassin, to just come and, well, assassinate her before she even knows what's happening.
もしくは私が戦っている間に
Or
ライ
take
ダー
out
のマスター
Shinji.
を倒せばいい。あのマスターに戦闘手段はないのだから、そちらの方が確実かもしれません。
That's the conclusion. We don't know what Ryder's Noble Phantasm is, and additionally, it's too powerful. As we have no countermeasure, we can only beat her before she has a chance to use it. So, whatever the Noble Phantasm of the other servants are, we cannot compensate a Noble Phantasm against Ryder.
忠告助かったよ、遠坂。俺たちはシンジを探しに行くけど、遠坂はどうする？留守番していてくれるか？
そうね。あなたたちがそう言うなら私たちもシンジを探してもいいんだけど、まあやめとくわ。敵はライダーだけじゃないし、私たちはもともとバーサーカーを倒すために手を組んだんだしね。シローがシンジを追っている間、私は私でやることがあるから。
Osaka stands up with a cold smile on her face.
それじゃあね。いい結果を期待しているわ。
Maybe we could see if we could rope Ilya to helping us out. Leaving Tosaka at home, I leave with Saber. It's 7:30 in the morning. The hill is really quiet. Students usually go to school at this time, but not many people are around today.
学校は休校だそうですね。死者が出なかったとはいえ、大半の生徒は未だ立ち上がれる体ではないということですか。
重度の栄養失調みたいなもんだからな。まともに動けるようになるまで何日かはかかるだろう。
But those are the lucky ones. Transformation of the skin, necrosis of the tips of the limbs. I hear there were even students on the verge of blindness.
タイガも病院に運ばれたと聞きます。
Oh
見舞い
no!
に行かずともいいのですか、シロ。
ああ、藤ねえのはただの疲労だと。心配しなくてもいいから真面目に家で勉強してろとさ。
I'm glad, well, he's okay at least, they said. Nobody died. I called the Fujimura house and checked on Fujine's state before I left the house. I would like to go visit her, but I should hold off on that for now.
では探索に専念するのですね。それはいいのですが、シロに当てはあるのですか。私はサーバントの気配を読み取れますが、それも近づかなければわかりません。何か手がかりがなければ探し出すのは難しいのではないでしょうか。
ああ、確かにシンジが何もせずに隠れていた場合、探し出すのは難しいだろう。けどあいつの性格から言って昨日の今日でおとなしくしているとは思えない。
Shinji's not the type to stop when he's beaten. He's the kind of guy that would take revenge.
ではライダーのマスターは再び結界を張ろうと
I
する
feel
と
like he's gonna use Sakura as like bait in some way. It's been oddly quiet. She's been away from us. We haven't seen her in a while. I feel like she's gonna, because Shinji knows that Shiro has maybe not romantic feelings for her, but has like affection for her, and if he thinks that she might be in danger, he would rush right in.
間違いなくな。俺と同じで、あいつはサーバントに魔力を提供できない。俺たちに復讐しようとするなら、まず魔力を貯めないといけないだろう。なら、見つけ出すのはそう難しくはないんじゃないか。
ライダーのマスターを探すのではなく結界を探すのですね。
ああ、マスターの感知はできなくても、あれだけの結界なら近づけばわかる。それに場所も特定できるだろう。大きな建物で人がたくさん集まるところを当たっていけばいい。
驚いた。やりますね、シロ。
俺だって考えなしってわけじゃないぞ。探し出せる自信がなかったらこんなことは言い出さないよ。
Yes, I'm confident. There's the matter of the boundary field, but there's more meaning in us walking around. Just as I can't leave Shinji alone, I bet Shinji doesn't intend to let us go either. Just to be sure, we go to Shinji's house. Well, maybe we'll get to see Sakura. I have Saber check for the presence of Ryder. The result is negative. Well, he's not the kind of guy that would be resting at home.
行こう。シンジが結界を張るとしたら、こっちの町じゃなくてシントの方だ。オフィス街のビルを総当たりしていこう。
Calling out to Saber, I leave the Mato house.
いいのですか、シロ。ここはさくらの家なのでしょ。立ち寄ったのですから。
Oh, I wonder if I'm gonna have a choice to talk to her or just leave.
それぐらいは余裕があると思いますが。
I'm certainly worried about Sakura. According to Tosaka, Sakura was just weakened. Fortunately, she didn't have any external wounds. But if I can, I want to see her and take care of her since she's always taken care of me. But, oh?
やめておく。
Ah.
この戦いが終わるま
I
で
thought there was gonna be a choice
さくら
there.
と会って戦いに巻き込むわけにはいかないからな。
And most of all, I can't go and see Sakura if I'm to fight Sakura's brother soon. If the worst comes to the worst and I have to kill Shinji, I'll never be able to face her. So I shouldn't leave any lingering affections. I think that's the best course I can take, and I also believe it's for Sakura's best as well. We go to every building we spot. We went through all the larger ones first, but there's no findings yet. Wiping the sweat off my brow, I move my heavy limbs. Trying to calm my breathing, I stand still for a while and take a deep breath.
シロ、何か異
I
常でも
mean,
あ
he
り。
did almost die yesterday, and now he's just on his feet for hours. Hasn't let himself recover fully.
こちらへ。
Ooh,
ちょっと待って。そっちは公園だぞ。
ooh, the park.
こっちに
They
はまだ
mentioned
見
about
て
like
ない
that
建物が残ってる
dead park.
それは後にしてください。今はこちらが最優先です。
Something must have caught her attention. She speaks strictly and pulls me towards the park.
セイバー、どうしたんだよ。こんなところまでやって
Dude,
きて。
learn to listen to her, especially if
ここに
she's
は
being
何もない
insistent about it.
そんなのセイバーにだってわかるだろう。
I thought that he was better about this. He's got to learn to trust her a little bit more.
いいですから、そこのベンチに座ってください。話はその後で聞きます。
Stared down by Saber, I reluctantly sit down on the bench. Or maybe she's just concerned that he's pushing himself too hard. And then... Oh? I almost faint. I hold my face with one hand. My forehead's sweaty and my breath is out of control even though I'm sitting down. Hold on. Why am I sweating in the middle of winter?
おかしいな。こんなに疲れてたのか、俺。
As soon as I ask myself that, I finally realize the state of my body. I'm not tired. This is just my unhealed wound aching. Ridiculous. No matter how deep the breaths I take are, I can't catch my breath. My body's heavy and my legs refuse to stand up.
ようやく自分の体に気がついたようですね、シロ。
Saber is angry. It's only natural. It does no good when the one who suggested the idea of searching for Shinji is just resting on a bench.
すまん。すぐ動けるようにするから、しばらく待ってくれ。
私が注意しているのはそんなことではありません。どうやら あなたには何を言っても無駄のようですね。
I understand that Saber's angry. I understand, but I don't quite get what she's so angry about.
ちょっとセイバー、きちんと言ってくれないと何が言いたいのかわからないんだが。
わからないのなら語る必要はないでしょう。いいですから、シロはそこで休んでいてください。一人で休むのが嫌なら、私もお付き合いしますから。
Saying that, Saber sits next to me. The bench isn't that large. Saber's sitting so close to me that I could touch her shoulder if I leaned over a bit.
いや、待てってセイバー。休んでる暇なんてないだろう。俺たちは遊びに来たんじゃなくて。
遊びになど来ていません。休憩も戦いのうちです。文句を言うのでしたら、まずその呼吸を整えてからにしてください。
いや、呼吸を整えろって、お前。
It's true my body's tired and I can't breathe properly, but if you're this close, my heart starts jumping and...
シロ、人の話を聞いていますか？今まで体に無理をさせてきたのですから、まずは肩の力を抜いて落ち着いてください。気が散っていては体が休まらないのですから。
いや、だから。
If she wants me calm, why doesn't she get away from me? I don't know what Saber thinks, but for me, she's a girl of around my age. Well, she's actually younger, but she's a girl nonetheless. And on top of that, she's unrealistically beautiful. I don't know what kind of a guy would be able to calm down with her next to him.
シロ、気のせいでしょうか。先ほどより顔色が悪くなってきた気がするのですが。
そんなことない。動揺なんてしてないぞ、こっちは。
それならいいのですが、やはり横になった方がいいのでしょうか。この辺りで休めるところと言ったら。
Saber looks around. Hey, why is there a guy using his lover's thighs as a pillow in this desolate park? I had a feeling that was what was going to happen. She's like, you can rest on me. I was expecting that. And it seems Saber's looking at the couple and thinking.
シロ、気分が悪いのでしたら横に。
大丈夫、おとなしくしてればすぐに落ち着くから。余計な心配はしなくていい。しなくていいから当分ほっといてくれ。
Looking away from Saber, I close my eyes so I won't see her. Calm down. Try to ignore Saber, who's sitting next to me. All I have to do now is keep on breathing deeply and... The fire died down after one night. The red fiery walls were gone. There was a burnt field all around me, and the blackened woods were smoldering with the sounds of sparking. As I lay there, I think it sounds like a small firework. The sky starts to cloud up. It would rain soon, and the fire should stop. I was looking up blankly at the sky with a body that was even having difficulty breathing. There are only burned corpses around me. I have burns all over my body, and there's a bad burn across my chest. My open chest. I feel like I could grab my heart if I put my fingers into the inflamed chest. Oh yeah, now that I think about it. I didn't fall because I was tired. My numb body wasn't kind enough to be able to rest just because it was tired. I fell because I think my wounds made me unable to move my arms or legs. So I was manly, and I did not panic. I knew I would not be saved, and I wasn't scared because everyone around me had died the same way. I just looked up at the clouding sky and watched myself as I grew thinner. But still, my dazed consciousness, I thought to seek help as long as I was alive, and I reached out my hands. Wait, something's weird. I shouldn't remember a burning feeling in my chest. I wake up suddenly. I open my shirt and check my body. There's no scar on my chest. I almost died because of lack of oxygen from the burn after all, and I didn't have any fatal wounds. If I had taken something like that, I bet even Kiritsugu wouldn't have been able to save me. No, more importantly...
夜になってる。俺寝ちまってたのか、セイバー。俺寝ちまってたのか、セイバ
ー。はい。よく眠っているようでしたので起こしませんでしたが、その会話あったようですね。先ほどに比べて、シロの顔色は良くなっていますから。
人が悪いな。居眠りした俺が悪いにしても、起こしてくれてもよかったじゃないか。休んでいる暇はないって言っただろ。
休息は必要な行為です。それにシロが眠っていたのは1時間程度ですから、そう問題はないでしょう。
そりゃ結果論だ。俺が起きなかったらどうするつもりだったんだよ、一体。
そうですね。あまり変わりはないでしょう。日が落ちて寒くなってきましたから、そろそろ声をかけようと思っていたところです。
This is no good. No matter how I think about it, she's right in this case.
まあ確かに体の調子はすごくいいけど。
I get up from the bench and start to walk through the field. There's no trace in the field of what came before. No trace of when it used to be a residential district, nor any trace of when it was that red burning world. It kind of irritates me that in spite of that, I saw that after image just by sleeping here.
シロ、何か問題でもあるのですか？
ああ、いや、どうせ休むなら別の場所にするべきだったなって。ここはどうも嫌な思い出がありすぎる。
嫌な思い出？シロはこの場所に縁があったのですか？
そっか。話してなかったっけ？俺、昔はこの辺りに住んでたんだ。10年前の話だけどな。大きな火事が起きて、両親も家も焼け落ちた。その時に親父に助けられて、そのまま養子になったんだよ。
では、あなたは。
Okay, first I was wondering, because, like, I don't know if Shiro's brought up Carrie in front of her, but, like, she hasn't mentioned it yet, or, like, Emiya, she's definitely heard him be called Emiya. She hasn't, like, I wasn't sure if maybe she lost her memories of, like, working with Carrie, or if, like, it's a slightly different version of Saber, although she did say that she had won the previous Holy Grail War. But yeah, she hadn't brought up her relationship or the fact that she was his servant.
なあ、キリツグの実の子供ってわけじゃない。それに、聖杯戦争と無関係ってわけでもないのかな。ここが前回の戦いの最後の場所だってのは聞いてるよ。
That's gotta be kind of messed up that, like,
皮肉というか
Saber indirectly or kind of directly was the cause of his parents dying. I'm trying to remember the final fight, right? It was between Carrie and Kyrie, right? Like Archer and Saber. I walked through the field. It's been 10 years since that happened, but it seems this ground isn't fertile at all. Maybe the regrets of the dying people has seeped into this land.
シロ、あなたが犠牲者を出すまいとするのは、それが理由ですか？あなた自身が聖杯戦争の犠牲者だからこそ、自分のような犠牲者は出したくないと。
いや、それは。
Now that she mentions it, maybe that's logical, but strangely I've never thought about it that way.
どうだろう。セイバーの言うことはもっともだけど、俺はもっと単純だと思うよ。10年前さ、ここでキリツグに助けられた時はただ嬉しかった。それ以外になかったから、自分もそうなれたらいいと憧れたんじゃないかな。
That's right. I was just happy at that time. I can't put into words the emotion I felt when my request for help was granted. But at the same time, the happier I was, the guiltier I felt.
けど、自分だけ願いが叶えられたってのは居心地が悪かった。俺は親父に助けられたけど、他の人たちは助けられずにずっとこのままだ。
Everyone wished for help, and I was the only one who received it. Only I was saved. And I was saved with the sacrifice of everyone else. So Emiya Shiro must take responsibility for it.
けどまあ、起きてしまったことは戻しようがないからな。死んでいった人たちに報いたいなら、せめてこれからのことを防ぐべきだ。10年前のような惨事は起こさせない。またあんなことになったら、それこそ犠牲になった人たちに合わせる顔がないだろう。まあ、俺の理由なんてその程度のものだと思う。
More importantly, we should continue searching for Shinji. I feel better, so we should go to the buildings we haven't searched yet. And there will be fewer people around at night. Shinji wants to attack us, now would be a perfect time. We're going to make ourselves a decoy. The real deal starts now.
行こうか、セイバー。とりあえずオフィス街に戻ろう。セイバー？どうした？忘れ物でもあるのか？
いえ、ただ今朝のことを思い出していました。体の傷を治してからライダーのマスターを探すべきだと言った私に、シローは順番が違うと言いました。
Maybe I said that, but I don't remember the details.
シローは昨日も同じ言葉を口にした。以前から感じてはいましたが、その時に確信したのです。あなたには自分を助けようとする気がないのだと。
As if, even stating that fact is a crime, she stares at me and declares so.
あなたは自身より他人を優先している。それは立派ですが、それではあなたはいつかきっと後悔する。シローはもっと自分を大切にするべきだ。
Saber walks past me.
行きましょう。確かにここにいてはあなたに負担をかける。
Saber starts to walk towards the office district. I try to call out to her, but I can't in the end.
何を
Are you saying? Those words die in my throat. It can't be that I don't intend to save myself. It can't be true, but for some reason, I cannot refute her words. We walk through the town. It's past 8 o'clock. At this time, when the station gets the most crowded, Saber and I stare at the map of the city.
主だった建物は回りましたね。他に行くべき場所はありますか？
そうだな。少し離れたところに工場がある。あそこも人が集まる場所だから調べておかないと。まあ、工場っていうのはシンジの趣味じゃないと思うんだが。
Even as I answer, it's hard to look at Saber. It must be because that conversation earlier is still affecting me. Since Saber's acting like she doesn't care, it bothers me even more.
そういうセイバーの方はどうだ？ライダーの気配はつかめるか？
いえ、感じません。彼女とは一度戦っていますから、近くにいれば知覚できるのですが。
Ooh, a strange feeling pierces my heart. A wave of magical energy that even I can feel. There's no way Saber can't feel that.
シロ、言うまでもないと思うのですが。
Ooh, is this gonna be Ryder or is this a completely different servant?
わかってる。近くにいるのか、セイバ
ー。いいえ、まだそこまでの距離ではないようです。ですが、確実に見られている。この魔力は私たちに対する挑発でしょう。
They're watching us, so that must mean they finally fell for the decoy. If they're emitting magical energy so obviously, they must be trying to tempt us.
で、この気配、ライダーなのか。
My mind switches. The awkwardness from before disappears.
魔力をたどります。注意してください、マスター。
I nod silently. The murderous intent stinging my skin is coming from the office district, empty of people. Maybe no one's working overtime today of all days. Most of the lights in the building you could call the symbol of Shinto have already disappeared. Not many people are walking through the roads, and the view isn't that bad. No one looks suspicious, and if Shinji's anywhere, he would be ahead of us. Perhaps the park we were just in. The murderous intent is getting stronger. There's no mistake that an enemy is nearby. No, more like... Ooh, I feel a chill run down my spine. From the intensity of the murderous intent that even I can feel. Perhaps we're already in the range of the enemy.
気をつけろ。何か変だ。
ええ、シローの感覚は正しい。このように人目のある場所で仕掛けてくるとは思いませんが、相手が相手です。
Nodding silently, we head to the park. I'll ignore the oppressive pressure that feels like having a knife stuck at my neck. Ryder and Shinji are nowhere in the office district. If they're going to attack, it will be in the park where nobody will see.
シロー。
セイバー。
I turn to Saber. She rushes at me like lightning. Oh, so much for that, although... and deflects the attack over my head. This could be someone completely different. Maybe it's Lancer? I look up. In my sight is a large building towering overhead as if to reach the heavens. And clinging on its side like a spider is the figure of the enemy. Oh, never mind. Long hair covering her whole body and flexible white limbs. The figure with the masked face is none other than Servant Ryder. Yes, fight time, let's go. It was just a little bit of like a The last one was just like a taste of things to come. A figure clinging around the 5th floor looks at me and licks her lips. I feel a freezing chill. There's no mistake. She came down from the top of the building to kill me using my overhead blind spot. Saber lands on the ground. Saber, who jumped above me and deflected the attack, has instantly armed herself.
Saber, あいつは
追います。シロはここにいてください。
追うってどうやって
She kicks the ground. Silver armor disappears from my vision in an instant. If Ryder coming down from the top of the building is ridiculous, so is Saber pursuing her just by jumping. Like I said, Saber's OP. She can do everything. No, perhaps because they are servants, normal logic doesn't apply to them. Like Ryder, Saber kicks the side of the building and charges at Ryder like lightning. The two shadows intersect at great speeds. They clash overhead and separate, and then kick off the building and clash again. It's like watching fighter aircrafts dogfight. Okay. Alright, let's... Oh, okay, I'll stand by. See what happens if I wait and stand by. It's sad, but I guess all I can do is stay here. I can't run up the side of a building, and even if I do go after her, I wouldn't be able to back her up in any way.
Saber.
Human cannot participate in a battle between servants. There's nothing I can do. I can only trust Saber's words and wait here. 60 seconds pass. After a short blank period, I see intersecting sparks way above me.
屋上二人ともビルの屋上まで上がったのか
I strain my eyes to follow Saber's figure. Silver and black light do not stop even once and disappear a few hundred meters higher. What should I do? Should I go into the building and run up to the rooftop? Unlike the side of the building, it's the rooftop on firm ground. I should be able to.
なんだ
Bright lights emitted from the rooftop. Not just once. It repeats in rapid succession.
あれはまさか
Ryder's noble phantasm? If so, Saber has no chance of winning. Not letting Ryder use her noble phantasm. Wasn't that the main requirement for Saber to win? Oh, did I make the wrong decision by staying down here? There's no time for indecision. Gritting my teeth at my cowardice, I run to the building. I run up the stairs. It was easy to get into the building, but it's not easy to get to the rooftop. The elevator doesn't go beyond the 40th floor, so I have to use the stairs to go up farther.
こんなことで時間を取ってられないってのに
If I had just not, hesitated, maybe I could have got there in time to stop Shinji? Maybe? I don't know if I would have been able to do anything. In the darkness of the inactive lights, I continue up the stairs leading to the rooftop. It's already been 5 minutes since I snuck in. A normal battle should be decided by now. Shit, am I gonna see a dead Saber? The ground shakes. The 50-store building shakes as if bombed.
なんだ今のライダーのホーグじゃないぞ
One more floor to the rooftop. Shaking off an ominous presentiment, I run up the darkened stairs. The instant I open the door, I feel hot air in my face. A burning heat, hot enough to burn my face, rushes in.
一体何が
Happened here. The concrete ground's burned up here and there. The dry air as if there is nothing living.
セイバー
In the middle, Saber's collapsed as if empty of energy.
セイバーしっかりしろセイバ
I run to Saber and raise her up. She's still breathing. Saber's unconscious and breathing heavily as if wounded really badly.
ーセイバー
Saber remains, and Ryder is nowhere to be seen. So, leaving the process aside, the result is clear. If Ryder was still here, she would not have let Saber go as weakened as she is. So the survivor, victorious one, Saber. Ryder was defeated. Saber must have lost consciousness in exchange for that. God damn it! I missed all of it. Kinda makes me want to go back and see what happens if I had decided to follow Saber instead.
我慢しててくれすぐに連れて帰って遠坂に見てもらうからな
I hold Saber in my arms. I'm amazed at her lightness. Saber, breathing painfully, has no weight, like she's just an illusion.
終わったわよ。和室に寝かせてきたけど、あの分じゃしばらく目を覚まさないでしょうね。
すまん助かった 俺にはセイバーを手当てするなんてできないからな。
まあ鎧を脱がせて楽にさせただけだからお礼を言われるほどじゃないわ。セイバーの体も良くならないし私は何もしてないもの。
But still, having Tosaka around was helpful. She understood the situation with just one glance at me holding Saber. Tosaka quickly took off Saber's armor and examined her.
それで何があったの？シンジを探しに行って帰ってきたと思ったらセイバーがあれでしょ？一腹あったのはわかるけど。
Yeah, about that. I wasn't really there
説明
for
してくれないかし
most of it.
それが俺にもわからない。セイバーとライダーが戦って生き残ったのはセイバーだってことしか。
ふん、詳しく知りたいところだけど追求するのは勘弁してあげるわ。今のあなたたちはそれどころじゃないものね。
それどころじゃないってどういうことだ？
言葉通りの意味よ。あなただってうすうすは気づいてるんでしょ。
Oh shit.
このままじゃセイバーが消えるってことぐらい。
Calmly, Tosaka mentions the result I've avoided thinking about.
消えるって、セイバーが消えるっていうのか、お前は。
ええ、どんな戦いをしたのか知らないけどセイバーの魔力ほとんど空っぽなのよ。今彼女が苦しんでいるのはね、魔力不足で消えようとしている自分を必死に留めているからなの。
魔力がないからセイバーが消える？
ええ、霊体であるサーバントがこの世に留まるための魔力が足りていない。こんな時普通のマスターだったら自分の魔力を送るんだけど、あなたはそれができないでしょ。簡単に言って今のセーバーは酸素不足であえいでいる魚みたいなものなのよ。
酸素不足ってバカな。だって今までは大丈夫だったじゃないか。セイバーだって眠っていれば持ち直すって。
それはセイバーの魔力量が桁外れだったからよ。けどそれもここまで。魔力を使い切ったサーバントを元に戻す方法は2つだけ。マスターがサーバントに魔力を提供するか、サーバントが自分で魔力を補充するかよ。
And then to collect magical energy, you can get it from people, right? But we're not gonna kill people to help heal Saber. Have a servant collect magical energy herself. That would mean killing innocent people like Ryder did.
まさかセイバーはそんなことはしない。セイバー自身がそんなことはしないと言ったんだ。
でしょうね。けど方法はそれしかない。マスターが魔力を与えられない以上、サーバント自身が魔力を補充するしかないわ。これはあなたが決めることだけど、セイバーを助けたいのなら、
Oh my gosh, this escalated. Would it really have made a difference if I had followed Saber? I kind of want to go back and see what difference it would make. That's the most realistic course, but that means...
もちろんセイバーは嫌がるでしょう。けど放っておけば遅かれ早かれセイバーは消えて、あなたは他のマスターから狙われることになる。
Saber will disappear? I can't even imagine such a thing. I still feel her body heat in my hands, which were carrying her.
決断はあなたに任せるわ。セイバーは眠らせておけば落ち着くだろうけど、それでも限界は近いでしょうね。決断をするなら明日の朝がリミットよ。
Tosaka leaves the living room. I feel dizzy. I can't even look up. I can only listen to Tosaka's departing footsteps. Okay. I gotta do it. I'm sorry. I gotta go back. I have to see if there's really any difference. I feel bad, like usually when I make my decisions, unless I know I'm heading towards a bad end, I'm gonna stick with them, but I'm curious. I can't just watch. Perhaps because it's a battle with no foothold, Saber is unable to overwhelm Ryder like before. The two's conflict moves slowly up towards the rooftop.
そうか、屋上。
If Ryder came from the rooftop, chances are Shinji's there. There are two conditions to fighting Ryder. Beating Ryder before she has a chance to use her noble phantasm, or get Shinji before that. Since Saber's fighting Ryder, there's only one thing I can do. I gotta kill a man. Let's do it. Be crazy if... Oh, interlude. Okay, so that... Ah, so that did make a difference. Oh, shit. Well, now I'm even more conflicted about what to do. The two shadows running up. The ground is already far away, and the clashes occur at higher and higher altitudes. The two need no footholds, as if they fly higher by kicking off the walls of the building. In the process, in the instant it takes them to move to the rooftop, they clash numerous times. If there weren't anyone watching them from the ground, they would think it looked like pinball. But then again, they cannot be perceived with the naked eye. Only their tracks are barely visible, and they are a circus of death invisible to any normal beings. But this circus is not what Saber wanted. Even if she's a servant, she cannot fly through the sky. She can run up a wall, but that's it. This is no different from freefall. It's just the difference between rising until she loses her speed rather than falling. So the expression, falling into the sky, isn't that far off. Since she started, she has to continue to the final destination of the rooftop. If she takes any blows from her opponent in the process, she will just fall miserably to the ground. But those rules do not apply to the opponents Saber has to defeat. Trace of Purple attacks Saber, who is just heading for the rooftop. Attacking from both sides and from above. Arcing from every direction, Ryder is not bound by gravity. Her long hair sways like a comet's tail, and her figure is like a snake encircling a tree. Saber's feet touch the building. Tilting her body to the side, she kicks off the building to head around to its side. Saber's path that is headed directly towards the rooftop changes direction perpendicularly. The flowing attacks go away. Ryder cannot match Saber in an instantaneous bursts. Saber shakes Ryder off with one kick, and reaching the side of the building, kicks upwards again. Up to the rooftop this time. Ryder's a snake wrapped around the building. Saber is almost like an exploding firework. But maybe Ryder expected even that. The distance between the two does not change. Ryder doesn't let Saber get away. She runs to the side and attacks in the opening as Saber kicks off the building. She flicks Ryder away with her sword and jumps into the open area. There is a limit to how much she can block Ryder's attacks in the air. The skills that were not even a match before are finally matched on this battlefield. There are no decisive blows in this battle. No, Ryder herself is avoiding them most of all. When Saber jumps at Ryder with determination, Ryder only defends and shows no intention of countering. Ryder is just keeping Saber in check as she runs to the rooftop. Saber yells at her cowardly opponent. As a knight, this kind of a fight is an insult. The battle determines the victor by exchanging blows with full force. According to that belief, Ryder's behavior is only an insult. Ryder only replies in a cool voice. She says Saber is inexperienced in air battles. One could say tonight is the first time she's engaged in such a battle. After all, a knight runs on the ground. They're not the type to stick to walls like the woman in front of Saber. Ryder moves higher as if to tempt Saber. She's deliberately constructing the situation. Saber acknowledges that as well. The final stop of this circus. Ryder's ideal position must await at this point. Ryder's trump card cannot be used readily here. That is why she's luring her enemy somewhere where nothing will interrupt them. She's determined to settle this match with her strongest blow. If Saber continues onto the rooftop, she will be in trouble. Ryder's noble phantasm is as Saber believes. There's no way to defend against it. But there's no turning back now. She cannot let Ryder or Ryder's master be. Not because it's the principle of the Holy Grail War to defeat one's enemies. Saber must defeat Ryder right here to protect her master. Because it cannot be helped. Saber herself is amazed, but she's thought at least once she does not want to push her honest master. The two gain altitude. Continuing their momentous clashes, the battle's about to reach its final destination. Okay, interlude out. So maybe I'm curious about what's gonna happen with Shiro up at the rooftop. Will he be able to stop the phantasm from happening? I run up the stairs while cursing. Even though I was able to enter the building through the back door, the elevator didn't go to the rooftop. I have to run up the remaining 10 floors with my own feet. Good thing he's been training his stamina. I run up the stairs full speed. I don't know how long it's been since Saber left me. I don't think it's been 10 minutes yet, but that's still too long. Nobody knows what can end a battle. Saber isn't perfect. It's possible she could make a big mistake and be cornered, in big trouble. So before that happens, if I can find Shinji and make him use up his command spell, there should be no need for us to fight against Ryder. My convalescent body aches the more I run up the stairs. I keep forgetting when he's doing all this, like he just almost died yesterday. Running around the building and up the stairs has me run out of breath. I don't slow down, but rather speed up. I have a bad feeling. I don't know why I feel it, but my heart is in pain. It's not a pain in my body, just something that tells me of danger. Saber cannot win. On the rooftop is something that must not be confronted. Trying to shake off the bad feeling, I continue up the stairs full speed. The wind's strong. As soon as I open the door, the scenery of the night town surrounds me. The concrete ground is burned up here and there. It's like an iron plate from a barbecue making sizzling sounds. In the center, in the middle of the burned up rooftop, is her figure down on her knees. Oh! So it still happened. Okay. Just happened slightly differently. We got to see that interlude. Okay. So she's not down yet. Saber is nothing to spare, breathing with her shoulders. The instant I try to run to her, I notice something strange floating up in the sky. No, the overwhelming amount of magical energy forced me to recognize it. I stare up at the sky. The sound of wings flapping. There's something whiter than the hazy white moon. She riding on something, right? Right? Yes, because she's a rider. Finally, we get to see that. So when she saw like that lightning bolt thing, it was her on a Pegasus? It is a legendary divine mystery spoken of only in myth. Right? This is right. Okay, I'm glad I did this because we got to see. Okay, it says status screen updated. We get to see her skills here. She has some divinity, but it is mostly degenerated. Divinity decreases as the hero's rank as a devil or demonic beast increases. Ability? Okay, so the only thing, the skills seem to be the only thing that has updated, as far as I can see. Right? This is Ryder, this is her when she was just like in a tight space in a school. Or anywhere, like a tight space, that's not where she's going to be at her best. This is her open field or open like area up in the sky with a mount. Like that's going to be her at her strongest. The instant Saber reaches the rooftop, she confronts the true form of her opponent. Supporting her falling body with her sword, Saber looks up. A white light approaches instantly. Deploying the wind wrapped around her sword, she creates an invisible wall. Her body's blown away. That which should have nullified any possible impact could not even slow the charge of the Pegasus. Blown away, she rolls on the ground. There's no time to lie down. The Pegasus turns in the air and continues its glide without a pause. She cannot block that blow. The only possible measure is to jump and evade it. But even if she does avoid the attack, the trail's enough to chip at her protection. She will eventually take a direct blow if she continues like this. The white light comes swooping down. The Pegasus glides down from high above, mows Saber down without touching the rooftop, and returns to the sky. Pursuit is impossible. There's no wall to run up, and even if there were one, no one would be able to catch that Pegasus. In that inferior position, Saber awaits a chance to counter. Even if it is a Pegasus, it's alive, it can be killed. The only chance of victory Saber has left is for Ryder to make a mistake with the Pegasus's reign. A voice from above. Saber looks up, holding her sword ready.
それに意味はありますか？あなたには勝ち目などない。散るしかないのなら潔く消えなさい。
Ryder sounds calm. A little joy can be heard in that voice.
幻想種だとは睨んでいましたが、まさかそんなものを持ち出してくるとは思いませんでした、ライダー。
Fantastical race. As it sounds, they are beings that exist only in fantasy. Demi-humans like sprites and giants. Demonic beasts like demons and dragons. It's their very existence is a divine mystery. It is said they themselves surpass magic. It's the law that a divine mystery will be eliminated by a greater divine mystery. As magic stored its power in knowledge. The fantastic races store their power in their long lifespan. Even if one masters magic as a human, it is only about the last 500 years. For those who have lived since ancient times, a 500-year-old divine mystery is not even worthy competition. But it was long ago when both humans and the fantastical races lived in the same world. The longer lived the fantastical race, the farther it strays from this world. In the present day, the only fantastical race in this world are a mere few hundred years old. That is why she thought the fantastical race that Ryder rode would be about several hundred years old.
寝台のものを持ち出すとは随分と業が深いようですね、ライダー。
ええ、私はあなたたちとは違う。むしろあなたたちの敵だったものに過ぎ。
What? Okay.
故に私が操るのはあなたたちが駆逐してきたかわいそうな子たちだけよ。
なるほど。歪んでいるとは思いましたが、英霊ではなく悪鬼の類でしたか、あなたは。
せいぜい呪いなさい。あなたでは私の子に触れることさえできないのだから。
Pegasus rests its wings in the air, a giant arrow that will strike if it sees an opening. Saber ponders, glaring at it. Pegasus itself is not a strong fantastical race. Normal Pegasus will only grow to the class of a demonic beast of the fantastical race. If that is the case, it's an opponent defeatable just with her invisible air. But that thing's different. That Pegasus has existed from the time of the gods. It has grown to the level of the fantastic beasts. That Pegasus is nearing the level of the dragon race, considered to be the strongest of the fantastic races. No, its defense is already at the level of the dragon race, because that Pegasus has divine protection exceeding even Saber, who has the strongest magical resistance. Its charge, emitting vast amounts of magical energy, is like a giant castle wall approaching. There's no possible way to dodge or defend against such a thing. But that is not the surprising fact. That Pegasus is just something Ryder has summoned, and it does not have a true name. For Ryder, that Pegasus is just like the dagger she uses. In other words, that Black Cavalry has yet to use her noble phantasm. She's like, this isn't even my strongest form, basically. Saber does not think of defeat even in this situation. Rather, she thinks that her chance will come when Ryder decides to use her noble phantasm. No matter what Ryder's noble phantasm may be, there's no problem if it is only strong enough to destroy the building. Saber only needs to go into defense, endure the attack, and slash away at the defenseless Ryder. That's right, as long as her master does not appear here. Yeah, where is Shinji in all this? I look up the sky. The sound of wings flapping. There's something whiter than the hazy white moon. It is a legendary divine mystery spoken of only in myths. The identity of Ryder's noble phantasm is that which caused the scorching of the rooftop and drove Saber to her knees? Ryder's riding on a flying horse as befits her class name. I take my mind off Ryder. I heard a sound. I cannot tell how strong Ryder is on that Pegasus. I can only tell the white beast is constructed from enough magical energy to have come from a few hundred magi. It's only natural for the rooftop to be scorched. That thing destroyed its surroundings just by running. That thing charges from the sky. There's no way even Saber could block it. I'm racing against time here. Ryder's noble phantasm's already been used, so I have to take the last resort of defeating Shinji and eliminating Ryder. I hear laughter. Shinji must be hiding somewhere.
シンジ。
見たかエミヤ、これが僕とお前の力の差だ。
Only his voice echoes. Calming my impatient mind, I listen to his laughter. Damn, the wind's strong. I can't tell where the laughter's coming from.
残念だったな。格好をつけて余裕ぶってるからこういう目に遭うんだ間抜け。殺す時はさ、さっさと殺さなきゃダメだって理解できたかい？
シンジ。
Don't rush. Let him talk. Let him monologue. Oh, it's like, look at me, you got me monologuing. I should be able to determine his location if he keeps talking, because he just can't stop himself.
けど僕は違うよ。お前もあのサーバントもここで終わりだ。何？これでも知らない仲じゃない。昨日の借りもあるしさ。せめて苦しまないように一瞬で死んじゃえよ。
This is bad. The head of the Pegasus standing by in the sky lowers towards Saber. A swirl of magical energy rotates as if without limit. That thing's going to be coming at high speed. Its rooftop will be blown away, leaving no remains.
なーに安心しろエミヤ。お前に邪魔されたけどさ、学校のバカどももすぐに後を追わせてやるよ。お前が寂しいってんなら、クソ鬱陶しい
Yeah. So of course, yeah, so he's lying about that too, about how he wasn't going to target the people at school anymore.
シンジ。お前。
やれライダー。まずはその女だ。跡形も残すなよ。
A white shooting star falls from above. I ignore it, but the instant I run to Saber, in that instant, storm appears before me. For the first time, she forgets about her enemy during a battle, angry at her master for coming to such a dangerous place, angry at herself for not realizing that this was likely. But all those ideas are driven to the back of her mind. What else could there be? In this dangerous situation, his expression is only worried about Saber.
シロ、
Come to think of it, he's always been like that. Even though he knew she was an excellent knight, he did not treat her as a knight even once.
どうやら余興はここまでのようね。セイバー。
Soft laughter. Ryder places her hands on the Pegasus's neck and makes it beat its wings even faster.
私の宝具は強力ゆえ、地上で使うには適していない。使えばどうしても人目につく。まだ他にマスターがいる以上、おいそれと使うわけにはいかなかった。けれど、ここなら覗き見される恐れはない。あなたを誘い出したのは、ここでなら都合がいいからと分かりましたか。
Something missing until now forms in Ryder's hands. It's a mere small rain of shining gold.
それが貴様の宝具か、ライダー。
ええ。私の趣味ではありませんが、この子は優しすぎて、戦いには向いていない。だからこんなものでも使わないと。
The Pegasus lowers its neck. The Pegasus rages not from its own intentions, but from Ryder's.
消えなさい、セイバー。たとえあなたが生き延びようと、あなたのマスターは私からは逃げられない。マスターさえ死ねば、頑丈なあなたもそれまででしょう。
That is absolutely true. Ryder's noble phantasm will completely blow away this rooftop. If she hurries, she'll be able to get Shiro and get away from the rooftop. Ryder's attack won't destroy just the rooftop. Her master is not strong enough to survive a collapsing building. So for Saber to protect her master, she has to slay that enemy along with the Pegasus. She has no time to decide if her choice is the correct one. She looks at her distant master one more time. He's gritting his teeth trying to fulfill his role.
風よ。
That makes her hesitations go away. Oh, she's gonna use her full power here? He forgets about everything that must happen in the future. She's only her master's sword now and exists only to defeat the enemy.
やれライダー。まずはその女だ。跡形も残すなよ。
An annoying voice shouts out. As it does, the Pegasus flies up even higher. It disappears from view in an instant. The Pegasus that flew up into the air has already lost its form. After rising as if to strike the moon, it arcs and returns toward the earth. The comet sweeps down. Even after it becomes an arrow of light, Ryder still pushes the Pegasus. There's only one target. She will destroy her enemy along with this isolated garden in the sky. The name is cast. A noble phantasm bears a miracle that is released by casting its true name. And if a miracle is a disaster that should not occur in this world, it is truly a divine lightning. Flashing thunderbolt. Watching it, her eyes show no emotion. And she's like, I can use mine too, bitch. The wind is unraveled. The wind centered on her turns into a raging tempest. Excalibur! The seal is broken, releasing many layers of wind. Her sword makes its appearance. A storm is rising before my eyes. I feel bad that that's kind of been ruined for me, that I know what her noble phantasm is because I watched Fate Zero. A white light comes bearing down. Even though she is its target, Saber does not move. A raging wind is coming from her. No, not from Saber, but from the sword she's holding. I doubt my own eyes. I can see the sword that should be invisible. Slowly, as if taking off bandages, her sword starts to show its form. Raging winds. Many seals develop as if a box is opening. The wind melts into the air. Readying the exposed sword, she faces the descending Pegasus. Ryder descends as a surge of light. Bellerophon grows large enough to engulf the whole rooftop and speeds up to destroy not only us, but the building itself. The rains of the heroic cavalry light up the rooftop. Time stops. Facing unavoidable destruction, my mind freezes. But not because of the rains of the heroic cavalry. The converging lights. Its purity is not even comparable to the light of Ryder that is merely large. In her hands is an assembly of the planet's light, the strongest holy sword. Excalibur! Damn, she actually kills Ryder. I can't wait to see how pathetic Shinji's gonna be after this. He was so cocky before. It is literally a line of light. It is a blade of light that slices everything it touches. It slices Ryder with one blow, soars up into the night sky, cuts through the clouds, and disappears. I think, if that thing were used on the ground, the great disorder in the land would remain and never disappear. Her sword was not invisible. It merely did not allow others to see it. A golden sword that captivates all who see it, and its all too famous true name, Excalibur. Said to have existed in England, it is the sword of the king known as the symbol of knighthood. Strongest noble phantasm of all servants, sealed in numerous boundary fields. That is Saber's symbol of heroism. I said she's so OP, she's got the strongest noble phantasm, she's got the strongest magical resistance. Like, it seems like the only thing she can't do is, like, be able to fly. The rooftop is silent. The wind is gone and nothing makes a sound. I can't approach Saber, I just stand there. I don't know if I'm still confused or if my heart is still captivated by that sword. My mind is acting strange, and only insignificant things come in my head. Why does she have that sword? That golden sword is the property of the well-known king of knights. I try to think how she ended up with the sword, and I notice that I'm trying to avoid the simplest of answers. There is no need for complicated guesses. That sword has always been hers. That is why her true name is easy to figure out. I don't know what kind of mistake was made, but there's only one person she can be if she has that holy sword. Saber does not move from the stance that completed her blow. Well, that should update her status report, right? We know her noble phantasm and her true identity. I should run up to her, but my body won't move. Up to now, I only understood in words Saber was a heroic spirit. Perhaps I realized she was a hero of the past. something different from me, and I hesitated to go near her. Yeah, you little bitch! I hear a scream. Something is burning in the background. I look in that direction. There I see a book burning into ashes, and... Shinji is there watching the burning book. Let's see if Shiro is going to allow him to go to the church, or if he's just going to be like, you motherfucker. I know he's of no, like... He's of no danger now because he lost his servant, but still. He must have realized Ryder's defeated, and he's at a disadvantage. Shinji turns his back to me as if to flee and runs toward the exit. Shinji jumps through the door leading to the stairs. I can't let him go now, but the instant I start to follow him, out of the corner of my eye, Saber collapses. My mind freezes. Shinji is running away, and Saber is on the ground. Oh yeah, I guess because they said that Ryder had been defeated, right? So we're just seeing... It looks like everything is the same. She was collapsed because she used up all her magical energy. Oh shit. Oh no. Okay, man, oh man. I want to follow Shinji. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna follow him and see what happens. Shinji comes first. Saber defeated Ryder. I have to catch Shinji and have him relinquish his status as a master. High-pitched footsteps echo in the dark. Mato Shinji flees through the dark hallways.
Ryder の宝具は一番強いんだろう。なのにどうして負けるんだよ。セーバーのくせにあんな宝具持ちやがって。不公平だ、不公平だ、不公平だ。
Love is that she's just Saber. I think it's more like she's Saber, she's the strongest one. Why does she also have the strongest noble phantasm? That is a little unfair. Rolling down the stairs, crashing into the wall, crawling on the ground, Mato Shinji heads for ground level. In his mind, the image of the light that slashed Ryder will not fade. Exactly as he says, that noble phantasm is an abnormal existence. The holy sword that appears divine to its allies looks like a devil's creation from an opposing viewpoint. So he runs through the darkness. That light will come if he stops. He will vanish without a trace if he turns around. There's no time to pause. He puts more weight on his life than on the fact he's lost his servant or the fact he isn't a master anymore. That sounds like you. Well, it seems like they were meant for each other. They were both talked a big game, but couldn't deliver. But those were Mato Shinji's orders, not to kill them quickly, ignoring Ryder's advice that they should kill them with one blow if they used the noble phantasm. He chose to corner Saber. Another tumble, even though he's almost out of his... So he didn't listen to her. He used his command spell. And for what? Even though he's almost out of this darkness, he hits a huge wall. He punches it in anger. An unlikely sound is made. Mato Shinji looks at what he thought was a wall, and at his arm, bent like a puzzle ring, and even forgets to scream because of fear. Oh shit! I wasn't expecting her to show up. Laughter fills the air. In the tense darkness, the silver hair of a white girl appears. Oh shit! The moment of recognition, the instant he realizes what's in front of him, Mato Shinji is terminated. I run through the dark hallway. I can't see, but I'm able to follow Shinji, because there's no other sounds. Shinji's footsteps echo through the hallway, so it's easy to follow him. It's a sudden change. The sound I was hearing was nearby, and there's still some distance to the elevator. As far as I remember, there's no reason for Shinji to stop in the middle of the hallway.
Shinji?
I walk quietly and advance with caution. See the change quickly. The spot where Shinji's footsteps died. In the hallway that was empty on my way to the rooftop, there's a red puddle. Would this have happened if I hadn't followed him, except we wouldn't have known? My mind freezes. Before I can think about what happened here, my body reacts. I can't be here. My senses trained by Saber are telling me to go back to the rooftop as fast as possible. I value my life. Am I gonna get killed by Berserker again? Okay. Controlling my nausea, I run towards Saber. Saber doesn't look well at all. She has sweat on her brow, and her breathing's weak, yet irregular as if she has a fever. I call out to her timidly, but she doesn't answer. She's unconscious. I touch her forehead. I automatically pull my hand back. It's unusually hot. This is a fever. She's over 40 degrees. Even when I call out to her, her only reply is heavy breathing. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know, but we can't just stay here like this. I pick Saber up. She's light. She was light before, but she's lighter now. No, more than that, she's... Saber's still Saber. I'm angry at myself for hesitating. Damn it, so what if she's a hero? No matter who Saber is, she's right here. Or she's here right now. She's warm. How stupid of me to think there was a wall between us in spite of that. I run, still holding Saber in my arms. There's no feeling of victory. All I feel is Saber in my arms, breathing painfully. Okay, so this is... Okay, so the same thing ended up happening, but we got a heck of a lot more content from me choosing the other option. So I'm really glad I went back and picked that. I guess the only difference between like this and my previous choice is when she asked what happened. I can actually tell her everything that happened. I wonder if I'm gonna tell her who Saber is, like what her identity is. That feels like I shouldn't give that information away. Okay, so... Okay, this is a little bit different. It's been an hour since then, somehow communicating with the unconscious Saber. Tosaka took her armor off.
それで何があったの？シンジを探しに行って帰ってきたと思ったらセイバーがあれでしょ？一波乱あったのはわかるけど説明してくれないかしら？
I hesitate. Saber's noble phantasm. I should avoid revealing her true name, right? Good. It's not something I can reveal by my judgment alone. Shinji retired. That is one way of putting it. I love how he's just hiding Shinji's death. Just not gonna mention that at all? Tosaka falls into a meaningful silence. She's Tosaka, so she should be able to tell it was no ordinary matter.
まあ、追求するのは勘弁してあげるわ。今のあなたたちはそれどころじゃないものね。
それどころじゃないってどういうことだ？
言葉通りの意味よ。あなただってうすうすは気づいているんでしょ。このままじゃ。
That is the one thing about Sabers. She has the strongest noble phantasm, but she can't just use it over and over again because it exhausts all of her energy. Okay, so this is the same.
当然でしょ。セイバーの魔力はほとんど空っぽなのよ。セイバーの宝具がどんなものだったかは知らないけど、よっぽど魔力を使うものだったんでしょうね。セイバーは自分の中の魔力をほぼ消費してしまった。今彼女が苦しんでいるのはね、消えようとしている自分を必死に留めているからよ。
魔力がないから消える？セイバーは傷を負ってもいないのに消えるっていうのか？
ええ、サーバントにとっては外的ダメージより 魔力切れの方が深刻な問題よ。霊体であるサーバントに肉体を与えているのは魔力だもの。それがなくなれば消えるしかない。もっともそんなことにならないようにマスターはサーバントに魔力を送るんだけど、あなたはそれができないでしょ。だからセイバーは自分の魔力だけで戦うしかない。切れたらそれまでよ。こんなこと一番初めに説明したでしょ。
That's certainly what Saber told me.
けど今までは大丈夫だったじゃないか。セイバーだって眠っていれば持ち直すって。
それはセイバーの魔力量が桁外れだったからよ。そうね。確かにセイバーの魔力はまだ残ってる。彼女ならまだ消えずに肉体を保つぐらいの魔力は回復できるとは思う。けど結局はそこ止まりよ。セイバーはずっと今の状態で戦うことになる。宝具を使うなんてもってのほか。次に宝具を使えばセイバーは間違いなく消え去るでしょうね。
次に宝具を
Well, that's a little bit different from what she said before. She made it seem like she was basically like gonna disappear the next morning if we didn't make a decision. And now she's just saying like, oh, she'll stick around, but she just can't use her noble phantasm again. No, first of all, I can't let her fight in this state. I don't want to see her slumped over in pain again.
理解できた？結局セイバーを以前の状態に戻す方法は2つだけよ。マスターがサーバントに魔力を提供するか、サーバントが自分で魔力を補充するか。
Have a servant collect magical energy herself. That would mean killing innocent people like Ryder did.
まさかセイバーはそんなことはしない。セイバー自身がそんなことはしないと言ったんだ。
でしょうね。一般人を犠牲にするぐらいならセイバーは潔く消えるでしょう。なら方法は一つだけよ。セイバーを消したくないのならあなたが魔力を提供するしかないわ。
Okay, this is different. This is different from what she was saying before.
それはできるならとっくにそうしてるさ。けど俺は魔力を提供する方法なんて知らない。あいにく遠坂みたいに何でもできるってわけじゃないんだ。
まあね。共有の魔術を教えてあげても間に合わない。シローは魔術師に向いてないから覚えるのに1年ぐらいかかるだろうし、覚えたところで使えないわ。まあ召喚時にセイバーとパスは通っているはずだから、まだ他に方法があるかもしれないけど。
This does feel a little bit more optimistic than the previous option, where she was just like, you're gonna have to kill people or else she's gonna die. Tosaka ponders, but it's only for a moment. Tosaka looks at me with an expression suppressing her emotion.
いい？セイバーを助けたいのなら、彼女自身
Okay,
に人を
well,
育
nope,
て
it's coming to the
て
same
魂を食べ
conclusion.
させるしかない。それはあなたにも分かってると思うけど。
That's the most realistic measure, but that means...
もちろんセイバーは嫌がるでしょう。けど放っておけば遅かれ早かれセイバーは消えて、あなたは他のマスターから狙われることになる。
Saber will disappear. I can't even imagine such a thing. I still feel her body heat in my hands which were carrying her.
なら答えは一つよ。レイジを使いなさい、エミヤ君。それで
Okay,
最悪の
this is
事態を避けられる。
she didn't offer this option before. That means ordering Saber to kill innocent people. I can't say anything. I resent what Tosaka's saying, but at the same time, another part of me recognizes that this is the only solution.
決断はあなたに任せるわ。セイバーは眠らせておけば落ち着くだろうけど、それでも限界は近いでしょうね。決断をするなら次に襲われるまでにね。
Okay, it went from the next morning to the next time we get attacked, so it's a little bit more optimistic, but still, not great. Tosaka leaves the living room. I can't even look up. I can only listen to her departing footsteps. Alright, well, that was certainly an awesome episode. Holy cow, we actually finally have not just a servant death, but a master death. I'm almost a little upset that Shinji just went out without me being able to confront him once and for all. Not saying that I wanted Shiro to be the one to kill Shinji, but I was hoping at least maybe... Like, as much of a dick as he is, like, when he doesn't have a servant and he doesn't have the magical abilities, he's kind of like a neutered animal. He could have lived, but he would have been very humbled. But instead he just ended up dead by Ilya. So Ilya got some of her bloodlust out, at least. So, man, that was, yeah, really intense episode, and then ending with this whole thing about, like, me having to use my command spell to order Saber to kill innocent people. I imagine that's gonna cause some issues between us, just as we're starting to kind of, like, be on the same page. So I am really excited to see, like, with this revelation, like, how are we going to deal with this? Is there going to be another workaround? Because it's not something Shiro or Saber would want. So we'll just have to wait and see. I really liked this. It was a really awesome episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time for part 15. Special shout out to my top tier patrons: Emily Hornsby, Zoran Ether, Revealing Storm, Asborn Kennedy, Icognito, and Harry Gazif.